right, so moving on to A Feast on Sorrow. I have been listening to that album exclusively pretty much since the 11th at midnight when it came out, you know. I and
Same here.
I'm not even lying. Like it's been all I listened to, but so I was just wondering how did if you could like tell us a little bit, how did Urne, end up working with Joe Duplantier from Gojira, and how did they approach you? Was it by email? Did they call? Like,
Well, it was the whole slid into the DMs. Um, so when we released Serpent and Spirit, on the first day it was out, Jean-Michel did a post on Instagram about us. And then honestly, because we were a tiny band, I initially was like, fucking hell, there must be a French band with the same name or a European name because our spelling of Urne is really used elsewhere in the world apart from English speaking kind of countries, I guess, it's so I was just like, fuck's sake. And then he posted again, but with another song. And I was like, oh my God. So we kind of reached out and was just like, thanks very much. And he was like, cool, wicked, keep it going. So then fast forward, I think that was near the end of the kind of pandemic. And then fast forward about
Mhm.
4 months. Then one night I was sitting at mine, probably fucking watching nonsense on YouTube. And we get an ad, get a follow, and it's from Joe. And I was like, oh my God, like,
Holy
fuck.
shit, yeah.
And I think we get a message, and it's just like, Jean-Michel, show me your stuff. Keep up the good work. Now, look, man, there's thousands of metal bands in the world, right? But if we're attracting people who are in fucking Gojira, um, Killswitch, Trivium, Whitechapel, Forbidden, Sacred Right, we must be doing something good. So I was like, fuck, okay. So I kind of I wanted to improve the drum sound from Serpent.
Okay.
So obviously Joe has a studio which is pretty much made for his brother who happens to be God, you know. Um,
I hear you.
so
Yeah.
I didn't know Joe really did that, but I wanted to be, I questioned, I was like, what's the possibility of coming over to use your studio for maybe 4 or 5 days and an engineer? Because I think there's a number of engineers that work there. And he was
Uh-huh.
just like, yeah, cool, like, blah, 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 we can sort out something. And we spoke a little bit. And then I think he just went, do you know what? I, I'd be up for producing your album, and I don't really do this much anymore. But he was like, I'd like to produce your album,
Holy shit.
and then it just went from there. And maybe fast forward 4 months, 5 months, and we went to Copenhagen, and we saw the guys, and we got invited backstage, and it was at that moment we kind of realized this band, you know, a lot of people love Gojira, but then all of a sudden, kind of going into that world, I realized this band is a really big deal to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the venue is probably, a band as heavy as them doing 5,000 capacity. And what I like about them, maybe not on the Monsters tour that they're doing over there, the Mega Monster tour,
Mm-hmm.
but what I like about them, they don't always have to take out in Europe a strong package. A lot of bands take out a really strong special guests and then two up and coming cool like support bands. Gojira just take we went out with them. We're tiny. They take bands that they think are good. They don't have to take bands to like sell tickets. They take bands who they
Uh-huh.
believe are really good. So we turned up, and I was like, fucking hell, this is mental. And then after we've got these passes, and I was like, after the show, you have to wait here. You'll then be escorted to this point, and then you'll be escorted from that point to that point. And I was like, fuck. And of course, that was just venue security. And I
Okay.
was like, Jesus Christ, do they have bodyguards? And then, yeah, and then we're waiting in a room, and kind of like the venue's gone quiet, it's getting darker. And boom, Joe walks in with Taylor, the tour manager, and he's like, hey guys. And I was like, fucking hell, it's real,
It's
And
happening.
yeah, it was just like, this is surreal. And we went and met the guys and whatnot, and Joe got us to use Johan, who's the live engineer to engineer and mix our record. The live engineer for Gojira. I think he also engineered Fortitude, and he engineered, mixed, and co-produced Magma. So
Mm-hmm.
he's like, that Gojira live sound is the best sound in metal, and it's, he created it, sort of thing. So he flew over to engineer the album. But it was when we were walking out, all of a sudden there's like two Nightliner buses, two big 18 wheelers with all their equipment, and I was like, "Fuck me, this is like bad." you know, it's like a big deal. And then fast forward another 5 months, we're in New York City. Me and my mates who just formed a band just for a bit of laugh, like a bit of just having a good time. And there was an amazing moment where we were walking over. Everyone goes over a Brooklyn Bridge in New York, and it's
Okay.
rammed. But the next bridge on is empty, and it's like the same bridge, but it's about
Okay.
500 yards that way.
Uh-huh.
And we're walking over, and it was a sunny morning, and it's the New York skyline, and you see all these people walking over Brooklyn Bridge, and we had the whole Manhattan Bridge to ourselves. And we're walking over, and I just remember being like, "What the fuck?" Sorry if you can hear meowing. My cat's getting a bit. Otis, behave, good
Oh, that's
boy.
awesome. Yeah, I have a little cat as well.
He's one of them grumpy looking cats. He might pop up here in a bit.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
but he like so we was walking over Manhattan Bridge, and I remember it, and we're like kind of FaceTiming our family, like it's like 9:30 in New York City on a hustle and bustle morning, and we have this empty bridge to ourselves, and
Uh-huh.
we're walking over, and Angus started playing the theme song to Once Upon a Time in America,
Okay.
and I was just like, this kind of a film that is set in New York, like fucking this mafia film. Started playing the score from it, and I remember looking at him. I was like, "Why are you fucking doing that?" And then we were in silence, and it was emotional because our drummer was about to quit playing drums, and then we asked him to join the band. Me and Angus had always missed the boat. Anything we ever done, just everyone was like, "Fucking hell, wicked," but it just never happened.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, the last thing we were going to do, we was either not going to do anything or we were going to do something. And it was like,
Hmm.
what do you want to do? Do you want to call it quits? And then fast forward, I'm walking over the river in New York, just like, oh my fucking God. And it was the most perfect day. And I was just like, this is unreal. Like, I can't believe we're here. We haven't paid to be here, the label have, and we're just being tourists around New York, and it was just really something. And it was a moment that I wish I could capture in a bottle. Just the innocence of three friends
Hmm.
walking in silence through with the sun coming down on us, and we were just like, oh man, it was probably the best feeling I've ever had through doing music
Yeah.
because it was so innocent,
Uh-huh.
and it was just wow. And especially like me and Angus have been doing it for years, and it was just like fucking hell, man. Like we're in New York City. What the hell?
Yeah.
Then boom, fast forward another 4 months, we get uh, a potential offer from their booking agent, who's now our booking agent, to go out
Okay.
and do 7 shows with Gojira. And then fast forward another 4 months, we're out doing shows with Gojira. I walked into Amsterdam Arena, and I was just like, oh, oh my fucking God, this is massive. And it was just like, oh, like, fuck. It's like the heart was pacing. And then now we're here and things are building,
Wow, I
like,
bet. Yeah, no, that
yeah,
sounds awesome. Like that moment you just described walking on the bridge and stuff. I really feel you, you know. I think like I feel like that's like the essence of life, you know. You
yeah,
think you're
yeah,
at a like, like at a bad spot or that things are about to end and then fast forward not
yeah,
that much time and
yeah.
bam, you're at your best, you're having this
Yeah.
like profound moment, and
Yeah.
and I think that's what it's all about, just like you got to follow those passions, and believe in yourself. Well, I'm learning that, as I'm like just starting this, but anyway, thank you so much for sharing that. That was beautiful. Oh yeah, and this is actually the one of the last few things I want to ask about. The whole Joe Duplantier of Gojira thing, because I want to like focus on you guys. But were there many changes to the songs when you were at the recording, producing stages? And if there were, where can you actually hear like Mr. Duplantier's like hand, in your album?
Well, the actual song structures. Now, fun enough, again, going back to the same review, the guy was like, Joe Duplantier's production's amazing, but maybe he added too many Gojira parts. He added no parts. And all I could think about was that person's not listened to our first record
Uh-huh.
because we do a lot of stuff. And I was like, no, no, no. What Joe's done, he made it have an atmosphere, made it have a feeling. Especially if you listen to Magma and Fortitude, it has a live feeling, especially Magma. That's why
Hell yeah.
that's for me. That album sounds amazing, and he gave it a personality. So I think the only structure he changed, he took one bar out of a section, so he just shortened it, and
Hmm.
that was nothing. That's it's not like change the riff to that. He said from the start, I don't want to change your songs. This is your art, but I want to
Perfect.
give you a personality. I want to give you a vibe. And we spoke about what the concept of the album was in Copenhagen, and he got it. This guy
Hmm.
has wrote a lot of songs about grief and an album kind of about grief and pain and stuff. So he got it. But there are things, like he's just like, oh, that's me being a producer. The chorus to Beyond Becoming the Ocean, that's
Okay.
his. I
Okay.
had something different lyrics, different pattern, and he's just like, he's kind of got this really weird American French voice, and he's just like, I think we could do something else, and we chucked around some ideas. Um, and, he was. It's weird because he seems to doubt his quality of English, and I'm like, he's very good at speaking English. I think he thinks he's
Okay.
bad because he was hanging around with English people. I think he was just like, fucking hell. But yeah, the piano at the start of A Feast on Sorrow is Joe.
Okay.
Angus wrote the chords, and it was just going to be some basic chords, but Joe added in all of that. There's some percussion in The Long Goodbye, some like kind of drum percussion. That's him.
Hmm.
The chorus to Becoming the Ocean, he does some vocals with mine.
Oh,
Um,
that harmony in
there's some
the in
other
the
bits.
chorus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I love that harmony. It's sick.
And there's bits and bobs. The big one, the big one. To Die Twice. There's another bit that goes dun 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 dun. When it goes go, the drop is Joe because Joe
Okay.
Duplantier shouting go in Gojira. When you think about Explosia and all those songs where it's just like go, damn.
Uh-huh.
I was like, you need to do that. And then the
Hell
pick
yeah.
scrape is Joe. So it goes
Nice.
go, and then he does the Gojira
Uh-huh.
scrape.
Yeah, I heard that one.
So that they're both Joe. And I'm
Gotcha.
like, and he's just like, I'm like, do you want credit? And he's like, I'm a producer. I'm just doing producer things. But I'm like, man, a big thing for me, which Joe did. So the song Peace,
Hmm.
which is a highlight of the album. I love the way it just comes in there and it just takes everything down and then off with
Hell
the
yeah.
big finale. So we left the studio with just the acoustic guitar, which is done on some old acoustic, hasn't been restrung for ages, and
Uh-huh.
that's all we had. And we tried to do some percussion, and it was a mess. I think I think I was high. I think the guitar tech was fucking off his fucking high, and we're trying to do this percussion, and I am dying. And Joe's actually sent me a snippet from it.
Uh-huh.
He's trying to listen. He's trying to make this track, and all you can do is hear me laughing. And it was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? And it's just me laughing my head off because I'm like, I'm high, and I don't know what's going on. And it was just, and it's a really funny picture where Joe's looking at me with such disappointment, Like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like that. And then
That's hilarious.
Nick, the studio guitar tech's in the background, just like shaking his head. And it's just the way that Joe's just staring at us. But I was going home and I had like a panic attack. I was coming back from
Oh
Ireland. I had a
shit.
panic attack, and I was on the train coming home, and I was feeling fucking drained and
Hmm.
just really not having a good time. And I get a WhatsApp voice note, and I was like, it's like a minute in 20 seconds long, and I was like, what? Oh God, what's happened? And I press play, and it's peace. He sent it to me as just a WhatsApp thing, and it killed me. It killed me
I
bad.
bet.
And and I messaged him and I was like, I think I said, I was like, you fucking killed me here. You've done me in. And he went, that's what I wanted. So that's how I know it works. And yeah, man, it was, he did, apart from the guitar and the vocals on it, he did all the percussion. The subway is outside the studio, walking about, hearing people talking. I think it's him and like Johan in the studio talking, and that
Oh,
was basically put together by Joe. And the vocals weren't even meant to be on there. He took it from the end track. And
gotcha.
man, when I got it, when he sent it to me, I was just like, "Ah." And yeah, it was perfect.
I bet,
It
man.
was perfect.
That's yeah, that is one of the songs that I appreciate a lot in the album. And like you said, it really does serve to like calm things down and just like basically get you ready to that like the last song, which is like my personal favorite of the album, which I'm now forgetting the yeah,
The
the
long
long
goodbye.
goodbyes, where do the memories go? Amazing song, and I really think it works so well with Peace before that one. I personally think like they're just like, well, like they're just one song for, in my opinion, it just works
Yeah.
so well, and especially when you finish the long goodbyes with that like piece basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.